in the scope of. She serves as an associate editor, cum editorial assistant of the South Asian Journal of Marketing, published by Emerald Publishing. She is also servicing as an editor of books titled Shaping Entrepreneurial Marketing, a South Asian Perspective and Modeling Economic Growth in Contemporary Sri Lanka by Emerald Publishing. Furthermore, she contributes as an editor of the Sri Lankan Marketer magazine, published by the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing, and chief editor in the FMS Today, published by FM Faculty of Management Studies, Sabaragamuwa University of Sri Lanka. Several times, she has been recognized for her outstanding research contributions, including several Best Paper Awards at national and international conferences, the grand winner of the Early Career Researcher Award in 2022, and second runner-up for the Dean's Research Award in 2022. Highest Citations Award in 2023, Junior category, Highest H-Index Award 2023, Junior category, and Dean's Gold Medal for Top Tier Publication in 2023 at Research Awards conducted by the Faculty of Management Studies. In February 2025, she was awarded as the Best Researcher in the Faculty of Management Studies for the year 2024 at the University Day Award ceremony. So, here onwards, the platform is yours, madam.
Thank you, Sajid, for your nice introduction. I hope I am audible enough, right? Sajid, can I have a confirmation, please? Am I audible enough?
Yes, madam.
Okay, thank you very much. So I am going to share the presentation. So can you please stop sharing? Yes. Right, thank you. Okay, so good evening everyone, dear prospective Dean Sir, Professor Atula Nyanapala, all the heads of the departments, professors, senior lecturers, my colleagues, junior lecturers, undergraduates of the faculty, and respected audience. First of all, before moving to today's session, I would like to thank Professor T.U.I. Peris, Head Department of Accountancy and Finance, Faculty of Management Studies, because he is the one who inviting for me to conduct this the first session of this particular workshop series. So thank you very much, sir. So I'm Shanika Rathnasiri, and I warmly welcome you again to the very first session of the Thesis Mastery Programme 2025, organized by the Department of Accountancy and Finance, Faculty of Management Studies. For most of the undergrads here, this may be your first step into the world of academic research. So today we will explore the foundation that will support your entire research or the thesis journey. This Thesis Mastery Program consists of 18 sessions, and all the sessions will be delivered by an expert panel of resource members or the persons, right? So you will be informed about the future sessions within the introductory session as well. So let's begin with the session objectives. So the first thing is to understand the academic research fundamentals, to differentiate applied versus basic research, to explain how the Thesis Mastery Program is structured or aligned with the thesis writing process, and to finally to get familiar with academic writing tips and referencing. So before moving to the rest of the slides, so I would like to ask, so from you, the undergrads, I guess, most of the here in the audience, maybe the undergrads representing the 4th year and the 3rd year batches respectively, right? So I would like to ask, so what type of image, right, does this word conjure up in your mind when you heard this research? Or what type of a sort of a feeling or an emotion comes to your mind when you hear this particular word? Yes, I do not want a sort of an answer, but think a little bit. Is it sort of a happy feeling for you? or sort of a, yes, I don't know. It's sort of a, if you feel nervous, yes. So research is somewhat intimidating term or a word for most of the undergrads, right? It's a sort of a scary word for you all. Maybe you feel it's like life-threatening sometimes, right? Because like, don't worry. Because I want to say, don't worry. Because like almost around 8 years back, it was the same for me as well. Because I'm passed out from this university, from the Department of Marketing Management. So I completed my bachelor's in 2017. So like almost 8 years back, it was the same for me because if I yes, I can go back to my undergrad life, student life. So here, so like when it comes to research, I don't know from where to start. What sort of problem I'm going to investigate? Then what about reading or doing sort of an extensive type of literature review or extensive reading for finding literature? Or what sort of methodology will work for my research? So the same sort of questions which is there in your mind at present, it was the same for me before, like 8 years back. That's why I said, don't worry, right? So it's like, it's same for anybody on this earth. The same feeling will generate once you are conducting your master's thesis one day. That's so natural, right? But I want to say, I was ended up my undergrad thesis with like obtaining an A pass for that, right? So I do not want to highlight, right, without doing any sort of work, without having a sort of a commitment, real passionate about what you are doing, you can obtain an A pass. No, I know how far I worked, to which extent I work, right? What sort of like, what are the commitments actually I made at the same time my parents did on behalf of me at that time period. So with lots of commitments, lots of hardships, I was at the end, I was able to gain an A pass as I expected, right? So anyhow, right? So keep in mind, this is like, yes, if you work hard, like if you have a sort of, if you are sort of a real, you are real passionate about what you are doing, you are a person who holds something until this comes to an end, right? If you are a person who holds something, I'm repeating again, right? Until the outcomes comes, right? Outcome එක එනකම් අල්ලගෙන ඉන්න කෙනෙක් නම්, yes, right? You will be ended up with a good result, right? So we'll go ahead, right? So at the first phase, I want to like, yes, you have to work hard. That's what I want to tell you. You want to work hard. Yes, you need to be you have to have some sort of dedication, right? You have to work hard. You have to like tolerate whatever the hardships you encountered during these 4 months of the journey, right? If you are such, you will be receive whatever an outcome which makes you happy at the end of the day, right? That's my first communication for you, right? So we'll move with little bit the theoretical part. At the same time, I'm going to give you some activities as well, because I need to know what I explained here, whether you understood as I want or not, right? Okay, we'll go ahead. So what is research, right? So there are 4 sort of definitions here. More or less, they are same, right? 2 common words are there in every definition. If you go through quickly, right? If you are sort of having a scan, right? So you can understand there are 2 words, right? Which are common to each and every definition here. The first word, the common word is process, right? The second word is, it's about the problem, right? Process and problem are the 2 common words here, right? So moving to anything else rather than beyond, like I'm not going to define it. So I would like to ask, what sort of thing or what is known as a process? Yes. Again, you have to think a little bit. I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to pinpoint someone and I'm going to ask. No. What sort of thing you call as a process or what is known as a process? Yes. To term anything as a process, there should be some steps to follow. That's the point, right? To whatever the process, there should be some steps to follow. If I take an example from the marketing fraternity or the discipline, right? So there's a particular process called consumer buying decision behavior process or consumer decision making process. It's a process because it consists of 5 stages where consumers are passing through in an orderly way. That's why we call it as a process, because there are some steps to follow from first to second to third likewise. Sometimes we have to go back and forth. Research is the same, right? Though you completed chapter 1, right? You couldn't forget the entire chapter 1 and start chapter 2. You have to go back and forth, right? The same phenomena is applied to this as well. So research is a process, keep in mind. So definitely you have some steps to follow. I know you already completed, when it comes to 4th year, you already completed the research methodology course. The 3rd years also, they are following the particular research methodology course, I guess, right? Anyhow, so research is a process which consists few stages or phases to go through, right? So then it's always about finding solutions to a particular problem, right? So we are conducting research in order to find a solution to a problem which we are encountering or which we are going through, right? But this is about you are going to find solutions to the problem at your hand, right? While doing a thorough study and analysis. So you need to come up with a thorough study plus analysis, right? To know it as a process of research, right? So you are going to study, you are going to have a thorough study plus a sort of a very deep dive analysis plus interpretations, right? About whatever the factors causing or underlying the particular problem, right? That's called research. So I'm really about the first and the fourth definition. The second and third also more or less they are similar. So now I'm going to go with the fourth definition, right? The same, research is a scientific process. So it's always evidence-based. You couldn't have gut feeling decisions here, right? Everything should be scientific plus evidence-based, right? So it's a scientific process, right? Of finding a solution. Again, you are going to find a solution for a particular problem in your hand. But, right, this particular author has highlighted research, you are going to find a solution for a researchable problem. So, there's a particular adjective in front of the word problem here. So, from this adjective, you should have, right, you should understand that means there are some non-researchable research problems on this earth. ඒ කියන්නේ එහෙනම් research කරලා හොයන්න බැරි ඒවත් එහෙම ප්‍රශ්නත් මේ ලෝකේ තියෙනවා, right? Because he's talking about, he's highlighting about the finding solutions for researchable problems, right? එහෙනම් අපිට තේරෙන්න ඕනි indirectly he's highlighting that some problems are there on this earth which while doing a sort of a systematic study and you couldn't come to the conclusion, right? You must investigate කරන්න බැරි problems මේ ලෝකේ තියෙනවා එහෙනම්. So we are going to go through with the next slide. What are the non-researchable problems available on this earth? Sometimes students are coming towards us while having this sort of problem, sometimes at the initial stage anyhow, right? So then with the knowledge, with the advices we provided, then they are in line with whatever the guidelines we provided. But at the initial stage, sometimes students are come up with these sort of problems. Rarely, but sometimes. I also exposed to, right? Okay. So, non-researchable problems, right? Like this, right? The first thing, is it wrong to eat meat? What do you feel? Can you test this with the research? Can you test this with the research? I feel these sort of issues we cannot be explored through systematic investigations, right? This is because this is highly a sort of a personal, we call value-based or a moral judgment, right? Rather than whatever the empirical evidence, the data, facts and figures, right? This is heavily personal or it's a moral-based judgment. So it's hard to investigate, right? It's very hard to investigate this sort of research problems, right? Then, keep in your mind, value-based or moral judgments, those are belongs to non-researchable problems, right? Then the second thing, what is the true meaning of life, right? If you are really a sort of if you are a person who is having sort of philosophical ideas, right? හොඳ දාර්ශනිකයෝ වගේ නම් මෙන්න මේ වගේ ප්‍රශ්නත් ඕගලන්ට තියෙන්න පුළුවන් රිසර්ච් එකක් වුණා මෙන්න මේක හොයාගන්න ඕනියා මොකක්ද ඇත්තටම මේ ජීවිතේ අරමුණ තේරුම මොකක්ද what is the true meaning of life, right? So for the moment, right, keep it in mind. In a later day, you can find an answer for this, but not definitely with your undergrad research, because this is too abstract, too philosophical, which we call as abstract concepts. These are abstract concepts. It's hard to measure. So what are the variables we will utilize? What we are going to utilize to measure this thing, right? That's why we call these are too abstract, so much theoretical, so much philosophical, right? The third, right? What is the best movie of all the time? Or what is the best movie of all time, right? So this is again, right? The best movie for me is definitely different from someone else. So if I say it is this, definitely another one came up with another answer, right? This is totally subjective, opinion based, right? So then there is no universal criteria. At the same time, we couldn't have a universal criteria to measure what's the best movie for all of this on this earth, right? So this is highly subjective. Then, why do people behave the way they do, right? Students have come up with this sort of questions, right? Those are so broad, right? Since they are so broad, those are vague, unclear. They are not clear very much, right? Why do people behave the way they do? We don't know what is the context they are referring to. What is the population they are going to address with this particular thing, right? So those are overly broad, too broad, so vague because of that, right? Then, is social media bad? The next research question. Is social media bad? Right? This a sort of so is something we ask, right? Is social media bad? There are two answers. One may say yes, one may say it's no. So these are yes, no type questions, right? So there are obvious answers. Right? Is social media bad? Then there are two answers. Some ended up with saying yes, some ended up with saying no. So, if the answer is so obvious, then why we are going to do further research, further systematic investigations? Yes, it lacks depth, right? Yes, no type questions. Because of that, lacks the real depth of a research question, right? So, you can do refinement to this sort of a research question. You can do a further refinement and you can turn it to a testable question like, what is the impact of social media on adolescents' mental health? Then it's clear, right? It's clear. because like it's specific, so specific, it's focused, and at the same time testable, right? Then the final thing, what will the world be like in 3000? You may have the question in your mindset, right? Or maybe sometimes you may worrying about your future, not your future even, right? Yes, it's after many generations sometimes, but you are worrying about the future. So keep in mind, since this is sort of a prediction, right? We don't have much data to go through a kind of a systematic investigation. තුන්දාහෙදි මොකද වෙන්නේ කියන්න අපිට we don't have much data, right? Sometimes data may be available. So anyhow, can we validate? Or can we accept them as reliable data? Because those comes under predictions, right? So keep in mind, right? This is for like your general knowledge actually in terms of research, right? There are non-researchable problems on this earth where we couldn't come up with answers while doing a systematic investigation, right? Okay, we'll move with the next. Then, business research. What is business research, right? At the same, I forget to tell you, if you have any sort of question, you can send it to chat message, right? Or you can unmute and press your voice, right? That's okay, right? So, what is business research? Business research can be described as a systematic. Systematic means, you know now, orderly process. This is the first, second, third, and like that, systematic, so orderly process. At the same time, organized, so structured, right? When it comes to research, right? Yes. So they are systematic and organized effort to investigate a specific problem encountered in the work setting, which needs a sort of an immediate solution, right? So those are called as business research, right? Whatever a systematic and organized effort which we have taken to address a particular problem or a specific problem at hand, right? Where the organization is going through or struggling at present while expecting an immediate answer. So we call them as business research, right? So research, you know, it provides always, right, the necessary information for managers who are there in the industry to have informed decisions or the evidence-based decisions in order to successfully deal with the problems they encounter, right? Because, you know, they have to have informed decisions. Informed decisions means always evidence-back. Gut feeling willing decisions gonna be, right? We'll say employee turnover, right? So there's a high level of employee turnover in a particular organization. So they are struggling, they're worrying about this particular issue or the problem. So in order to find what are the factors behind this particular problem, right? So they couldn't say because of this, මේක හින්දා වෙන්න ඇති, අරක හින්දා වෙන්න ඇති, අරක හින්දා වෙන්න ඇති. එහෙම කියන්න බෑ. They have to have do a kind of a systematic investigation. Then they need to find what are the factors impact on this particular issue, right? So then they can come into whatever the informed decisions. Then they can come up with whatever the policies later on, whatever the law implementations or whatever the thing in future, right? Based on these decisions. Okay. Then, very importantly, your activities based on this, right? There are two types of business research. Especially it's based on the purpose of conducting research, right? We are going to put into two as applied and basic research. Up business research categories දෙකකට බෙදනවා, types දෙකකට identify කරගන්නවා based on its purpose as applied and basic, right? Okay, we'll go ahead. So research can be undertaken for two different purposes, right? So applied research, අපි කිව්වා applied and basic කියලා research වර්ග දෙකක් තියෙනවා. එක differentiate වෙලා තියෙන එක conduct කරන purpose එකෙන්. So applied research is conducted to solve a current problem faced by the manager in the work setting, demanding a sort of a timely solution, immediate solution, right? So you should understand applied research, those are conducted, right, in order to solve a particular problem, in order to solve a specific real world problem or a very practical problem, right, faced by the managers who are there in the organizations, who are there in the work setting to find out a very timely solution, right? While they need to find out an immediate solution for the particular problem they are undergoing through at this moment, right? That's why we conducted, that's why the industry people, the managers, that's why they conducted applied research, right? They are focusing on a particular problem or a specific problem at hand, right? So while expecting a timely solution, right? So then basic, also known as fundamental or the pure research, right? Basic කියලා කියනවා, fundamental කියනවා, pure research කියනවා. So these are conducted with the purpose of generating a body of knowledge, right? So the people who are conducted this sort of basic research or the fundamental or the pure research, they are conducting those research with the pure intention of contributing to the body of knowledge, right? By trying to comprehend, right, how certain problems that occur in organizations can be solved. In later, whatever the findings of basic research can be utilized, can be benefited for the people who are their industry to have some informed decisions, right? So this is the main difference. So we are going to further discuss about this thing because before giving you the activity, right? So applied research, it's about solving a particular problem at hand. That means they are undergoing at present while seeking a timely solution, right? So the basic research, it's about always contributing or generating to the body of knowledge or to the existing literature, right? So because in later, right, the organizations even can utilize whatever the findings of this research to solve whatever the problems in their organizations, right? That's about this. Okay, we'll further investigate, right? Basic, fundamental, or the pure research. Now I'm going to talk with examples, right? So basic research aims to develop or enhance theories. Sometimes they are trying to find out the new knowledge, that's the purpose, or sometimes they are going to expand the existing knowledge, or they are going to do some modifications to the existing knowledge, right? So enhance theories that explain behaviors, practices, and trends, right? So it is not immediately concerned with solving specific problems. So if you can remember what I'm discussing about, like applied research, it always about finding an immediate solution for a problem at hand, right? මේ වෙලාවේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නකට උත්තරයක් හොයන්න තමයි they are doing research, right? But this is not like that, right? This is always focused on, this is every time the focus is about expanding the general knowledge or contributing to the existing body of knowledge, right? So as example, a university teacher, professors, lecturers, right? The university researcher, or sometimes the academia, right? So a particular researcher studies about how leadership styles influence employee motivation across cultures. So you can see, right, the university researcher may be like you, right? Maybe an undergrad or a PhD student or a master student, right? So a particular researcher is going to investigate about how these different types of leadership styles influence on the motivation across various types of cultures within the organizations, right? So you can understand, this is not just about a particular problem where like a specific organization which is currently going on. No, right? If I say like a particular organization is there, we'll say this is about organization Y. Organization Y is experiencing high turnover, right? High employee turnover. So they are going to find why this is. So that is called applied research, right? So with that understanding, you can see, right? I guess, yes, Hashini. I have seen like you raised hand. Sometimes this may be a mistake. Okay, right. Then, Janit, yes. Do you have any sort of problem or question to raise? It's mistake again, right? Okay. So I'm not going to worry again with raising hands. It's mistakenly happened, I guess. So if you want to ask a question, put into chat message or directly unmute your mic and raise your voice, right? Okay. So then, so the particular organization, right? So they are currently facing a sort of a high employee turnover. So they are going to find what are the factors influencing for this particular scenario. So it's about applied research, right? But here, this is not about focusing a particular problem faced by a specific company on this earth. No, right? It's about always contributing to the existing knowledge or the general knowledge, right? So then the second example here, exploring the impact of emotional intelligence on long-term organizational success. This is not about the particular company. This is not about a specific problem. No, right? This is about, again, contributing, right? Once a particular researcher comes up with the findings and all, then this will be contributed. They are able to contribute it to the existing knowledge, or they are able to expand the general knowledge which is related to this particular area with this, right? Then applied research. Right? Applied research is conducted to solve specific practical business problems. So applied research, the purpose of conducting applied research is to solve specific real world problem, right? That's called practical business problem. So here it uses existing theories and concepts to improve processes, products, or decision making, as I mentioned before, right? So the whatever the knowledge, right, gained through basic research can be utilized for organizations to have some decisions, right, to improve whatever the processes they have, to come up with the new products, how about the pricing, likewise, right? Then it is quite possible that some organizations may at a later stage apply the knowledge gained by findings of basic research to solve their own problems. That's the point which I discussed with you all, right? So here, the examples. With examples, you will really understand what this is. What's the difference between these two, right? Here, a company. So that's about a particular researcher, right? Here it's a company. A company conducts a market survey to determine whether to launch a product or not. Another thing, an HR department of a particular company, they uses research to find ways to reduce employee turnover, right? So it seems a particular organization has a problem of like high employee turnover is there. So they are going to find ways to reduce this particular issue or the problem they are encountering at present, right? So this is always about, right? The applied research is always about dealing with a specific problem, like while like thinking about getting some immediate solutions, right? Okay, right. Now we are going to go with the activity, because I need to know, that's the first thing, almost the first thing which I discussed with you. So I'm trying to give you the knowledge how to differentiate applied research from the basic research, right? Applied research versus basic research. So I need to confirm, right, whether you have gained the knowledge so far I shared with you all, right? So there's a small activity. I'll give like around 10 minutes, right? So I have given here 4 scenarios, right? So first you should decide it represent a sort of a basic or a applied research, right? Nikama basic applied keyword madi, right? You should justify your answer with one sentence. No need to have paragraphs and paragraphs. No, I'm expecting just a sort of a sentence. Why you are saying? If you say the scenario 1, right? If you say it's applied research, then why do you say like that, right? From just one sentence, you need to justify, right? So for this, so I'm going to ask. Or sometimes I will ask to send what your answer to the chat message, right? Okay. I'll give you 10 minutes. So please work on this. Yes. May I know whether you get my message? Can you know, please, whether you got my message? Please raise hand or thumbs up if you identify what I say. I'm giving a sort of an activity for you. Right, okay. Okay, good. Okay, great. It seems you all are with me. Thanks. Yes. Yes, go ahead. Thank you very much for responding. Yes. Okay, I guess time is enough. It's sufficient, right? So before moving discussing the answers for this particular activity, so I need to communicate. I have to have a request from you all, from the undergrads here, right? Please rename your login name, right? To your registration number, because here we are taking your attendance, right? Because we are going to issue you a sort of a very recognized certificate, right, for this particular thesis mastery program, whatever the sessions, right? So if you participated for more than 70% of the session out of these 18 sessions, right, you will be eligible for obtaining this certificate. So please rename your login name to your registration number, please do it. Okay, can't you do any changes, because I'm receiving some messages, right? Can't you do any changes in this platform? Okay, please wait. Okay, some students sending messages mentioning chat is it's disabled for you. I guess now it's open for you all, right? Okay, Aruna, may I know please whether is it okay now? I guess, right? Now you can send the messages. Previously it was able for only the host and the panelists. I guess now it's okay for you all. You can send whatever the chat messages, right? Okay, then why this is, can't you change? Go to your name and see in front of, like, 3 dots are there. So there's an option called rename. Can't you see that? Yes. In front of your name, 3 dots will appear, right? I'm talking about the participants list, right? So there's option called rename. Is the option available for you as well? It seems you couldn't rename, right? Okay, still they're telling that they can't do any changes. Okay, I guess like the webinar chat will be available for questions only. Okay, we'll see, right? Okay, so like this is sort of a new sort of platform for me as well, right? So we'll see what we can do, right? So Sajid, you are there, right? Sajid,
Yes, madam.
can you please check Can you please check this?
I think, madam, they cannot. I mean, they are muted also.
They are
They can
muted
only
also.
use the chat. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we'll see. Right. Right. So I'm going to share. Now you have to open. That means Sajid, they can't unmute even. They couldn't do it as well, right? They are muted.
Yeah, they are muted. If they want to talk, they have to log in as a panelist.
Oh God. Okay. Right. Okay, anyhow, right. So it seems, right, you couldn't send the messages at the same time you couldn't speak, right? So anyhow, right. So then we'll go ahead, right? So I'm going to it's for QA. So you can utilize only the forum for sending for the whatever the Q&A, right? So I have seen here question and answering. So there are 10 messages here, right? So it seems like you are only able to send whatever the messages which is mentioned as Q and question and answer. That's the only available option for you all, I guess, right? Now I have seen that there are 10 messages, right? Right, okay, right. So I'm going to tell you, right? So you can correct yourself, right? The scenario one, it's about, right? A particular scenario is given here, right? A university researcher is studying how consumer trust is formed in online marketplaces like Amazon or eBay across different cultures. A university teacher is studying, right? A particular researcher is studying about how consumer trust formed in online marketplaces, right? So this is about, right? This is not about addressing a specific company problem, right? You can understand this is about, they're talking about the general phenomenon, right? So they are trying to, whatever the research is trying to expand the knowledge, right? So this is about, since this is not about addressing a specific issue, right? This comes under, we can categorize it as a sort of a basic research, right? This is about a basic research. So your answer should be for scenario one, it's a basic research because it's about understanding the general phenomenon, not about solving a particular problem where a company encountered at the present, right? So then scenario two, a fast food chain wants to improve customer satisfaction and conduct surveys in multiple outlets to identify key service gaps. So a particular fast food chain, right, they want to improve the customer satisfaction, right? That means they are having a sort of problem with related to customer satisfaction, maybe as a result of whatever the customer surveys, right, they conducted, right? They feel like the customer satisfaction comes down, right? So they want to identify what are the key service gaps available, right? So from the scenario itself, you can understand this is sort of applied research because they aimed at, right, this particular research is aimed at solving a immediate, we call business problem, right? So then scenario three, a logistics company want to reduce delivery delays, right? So they conduct research to analyze GPS tracking data to identify route inefficiencies, right? So again, a sort of a research, right, conducted with the intention of solving a sort of a very practical problem, right? While seeking a sort of an immediate improvement, right? So this is again comes under applied research, right? So the purpose is real, it's very clear here, right? For all four scenarios, the purpose is clear. So based on the purpose, you have to categorize whether this is sort of an applied or a basic research, right? Last one, a doctoral student investigates the long-term impact of servant leadership on employee loyalty in developing economies. So with the understanding you have now, right, you can understand this is not about a specific problem. This is not about a specific organization, right? So this is sort of the particular is doctoral student may be coming up with enhances the like expanding the existing knowledge, or she may be trying to develop a sort of a theory or modifying an existing theory. Likewise, it's not about it. This is not applying to a company, right? So again, this is sort of a basic research, right? Okay. Then, why research matters? So what's the importance of this, right? So I guess if I ask this question from you all, right? Why research important for you? Right? I guess you all say, in order to have the degree, right, we have to complete this now. අපිට මේ credits ටික earn කරගන්න එපයි madam. We need to earn this, whatever the 6 credits, right, given for thesis. ඒකනේ අප්පා මේ අපිට research එක කරන්න වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. That's the only importance we have, right? So the pure intention we are having is just to obtain the good grades, right? But keep in mind, right? So research is not just about obtaining grades, right? So it's about developing the lifelong skills, right? Some skills you acquire during the research process, those will be like valuable for your entire life, right? So the first thing, why research matters, why research important for you? This is sort of a partial requirement for you all to complete your bachelor's degree, right? So this is critical for academic progression. So the lecturers who are there in the academic fraternity, so they are coming up with whatever the master's or the doctoral thesis, right? Because academic progression or the career progression lies with these things, right? For you all, the same, right? To complete your bachelor's degree, yes, you have to have this. Apart from that, right, develops analytical, problem solving, and communication skills, right? So research always, right, it builds some skills such as critical thinking, right? What is critical thinking, right? You need to have this. So we are going to discuss the characteristics which is really needed for a good researcher. So we'll discuss what is critical analysis, critical thinking, all these things, right? So analytical skills, problem solving skills, and the communication skills, right? That's why I say those are types of lifelong skills you are having, right? At the same time, helps to solve the real world issues or the practical problems, right? Think about, assume that, right, after another 6 months, right, or like after another, yes, most probably 6 months, you are going to go to the industry, right? So you may be exposed to thousands of problems within the organization setting, right? To overcome from the particular problems in your workplace, right, you have to come up with research. You have to, right, you have to utilize the knowledge you acquired from your bachelor's time period, right? Whatever the analytical skills you have to incorporate, right? You have to incorporate the problem solving skills you develop within your during the research process, plus definitely you need to have good communication skills, right? So this is about why research matters for you, right? So we are going to discuss some traits of a good researcher. Check how many things there are around. Here it's 5, right? So I mentioned. So check whether to which extent you have these sort of traits, or what are the traits you should develop within these next 3 to 4 months, right? So check whether, right? Curiosity and critical thinking, right? For some students, curiosity is there at the beginning, right? But when it comes to the mid of the journey, even අපි කතා කරත් තමයි ළමයි එන්නේ, right? Curiosity එක සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම නැති වෙලා. I don't know why. මුලදී එන passionate, you have shown you are very much dedicated for this. But ඒව ඔක්කොම නෑ සමහරුන්ට මැදට යද්දී, right? So curiosity, it's always about, right? You should be curious of what you are doing. Always ask why and how, right? Ask why and how repeatedly. Then look for new angles, right? Then you can little bit dive into, because people are like notice whatever the things from the surface level, right? So if you deep dive, the day you start looking towards something in a new angle, right? That will be about like having the critical thinking. You have to utilize your critical thinking abilities, good analytical skills, yes, right? So then attention to detail. This is really worth for you, right? Attention to detail. It's about you have the ability, right, thoroughly to focus on whatever the task you do at present, no matter though the particular task is small, right? Attention to detail, right? Right? So I asked to shift the language to the native language as well, time to time, right? So then attention to detail. So samharak aina lamai, right? So keep in your mind, right? Putala, whatever you include to your thesis, you are responsible for defending yourself, right? Samharak kelata ogollo SPSS will say SPSS outcome එකේ විදිහටම paste කරනවා. ඕකේ එනවා Durbin Watson කියලා value එක. R square එක ගනිද්දි Durbin Watson value එක ඔගොල්ලෝ ටික් වුණොත් ඒක අනිවාර්යෙන් එනවා. දැන් ඔයක ඔයගලන්ට ඕනේ නැත්තම්, if you are not going to interpret what about the Durbin Watson and what about this value, right? ඒක දාන්න එපා research එකට. ඒක research එකටත් දානවා. thesis එකටත් ඒ outcome එකේ විදිහටම දාලා viva defense එකටත් ඔක ඒ විදිහටම දානවා. Then the examiner's question on what do you mean by Durbin Watson? මෙයා බලනවා මොකක්ද Durbin Watson කියන්නේ. ඔය කොහේ තිබිච්ච එකද මේ අහන්නේ? මන් දන්නෙත් නැහැ. එහෙම වෙන්න බෑ. You should have this particular quality, attention to detail. පුංචිම දෙයක් සමහරක් වෙලාවට it's about a in-text citation. ඒකත් වැදගත්. Even for a small task, right? You should have your great attention whatever you do. හරි? කරන පොඩිම දෙයටත් ඔයා responsible. ඔයාව defend කරගන්න ඕනේ. right? මොකද අපි අහන්නේ ඔයා කරපු දෙයක්. එතකොට ඔයා අපේ මූණ දිහා බැලුවොත් නිකන් what these people are asking from me, මම එහෙම Durbin Watson කියලා එකක් කරේ නෑනේ. So that means we feel like you did something even out of your awareness, right? So be cautious about what you are doing. You should be responsible for whatever the things you include, even the piece of information you include into your thesis, right? Then ethical conduct, really important. When it comes to especially plagiarism, right? It's a sort of an academic misconduct, a sort of an academic theft. Because you take a sort of a, we'll say it's a sort of a sentence from somebody else's original work, and you copy and paste it to your work, and you like keep it as it's yours work without giving the proper acknowledgement to the original author or the authors. See, it's a sort of a theft. Right? Don't do that. Don't do it, right? So you have to maintain the ethicality during your research process. Right? කියන yes AI වළක්වන්න බෑනේ වළක්වන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් නෙවෙයි. හැබැයි right once you are coming to the for your Viva defense, right, we can catch whether you produce this smart thesis or not based on the answers you given at the defense. ඔයාගේ work එක වගේම quality නම් ඔයාගේ defense එකේ දෙන answers yes, it's a sort of a genuine work. හැබැයි එහෙම නැත්නම් we can believe it's as a genuine work. ඔයා එතන ඇවිල්ලා මුණු ගානවා නම් this is not sort of original work, right? AI avoid කරන්න බෑ. Those tools are available for you all to utilize, right? හැබැයි ethicality is really important. Plagiarism policy එකක් faculty එක implement කරා ඊළඟදිම, right? For institutions, the policy, the criteria which they considered, right? It's depend on the institution, right? When it comes to the place where I completed my masters, it's always about 20%, right? When it comes to the place I had my masters in psychology, it's about 30%. So it's going to depend on the organizational policies what they developed, right? Eka university eke samanyen it's about 30%, right? Eka university eketh eke implement way, right? So you have a sort of a cutoff, right? Up to 30%, right? It is accepted. සමහරුන්ගේ 60යි 70යි, right? දාලා බලද්දි. So think about your ethicality. Yes. So then perseverance really important, right? I wanna say hold on, never give up, right? Perseverance, right? So it's about, right, yes, this particular process, your journey, this particular thesis producing journey, it's lots what is like this is with lots of pains, hardships, difficulties. Yes, I accept, but right, hold on, right? සමහර ළමයි මැද්දෙන් නවත්තලා research එක. Why this is? Because you don't have this quality. ඒක තමයි මං කිව්වේ. If I take myself as an example, I am a person hold something even with lots of obstacles until it reaches to the end at least. මං හිතන තැනින් deviate වෙන්න පුළුවන් සමහරක් වෙලාවට. මං හිතපු දෙයින් හැබැයි මම ඒක අවසානයේ වෙනකන් අල්ලගෙන ඉන්නවා. ඔය මැරතන් දුවන අය පරදිනවා කියලා පෙනි they pass the line. That is called persevere. අල්ලගෙන ඉන්න ඕනි. Right? Think about a river. හොඳම උදාහරණයක් ගඟක්නේ. River. Sometimes it's so calm. ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ. උඩට නිදාසේ ගලාගෙන යනවා. Right? Sometimes it's so wild. Right? You can see. Right? Sometimes it crashes over the rocks. Right? එහෙන් දඟලලා හැල හැප්පිලා තමයි ඒක යන්නේ. But hold on. ගඟ පස්සට ගලන්නේ නෑනේ. It's always going forward. Right? ඒක ඉස්සරහට තමයි යන්නේ හැමතිස්සෙම. Right? So hold on. Right? You know, you may heard sometimes whatever the deviations, whatever the failures you have in your life, that's lead you to your journey into the beautiful destinations, which you never expect sometimes. Yes. Right? එහෙම තමයි. Right? ඒක නිසා අල්ලගෙන ඉන්න. දෙයක් අතාරින්න එපා. You have that determination. You have that tolerance. Right? Time management. කියන්න දෙයක් ඇත්තෙම නෑ. Majority of the audience, the undergrads, from the management faculties. උගල management කරනවා නම්, yes, you should have good time management. Right? Don't wait until your supervisor's given timelines for you. Supervisor ඔක්කොම කරයි කියලා බලන් ඉන්න එපා. If your supervisor, he or she didn't provide you the timeline, develop a sort of a timeline for you. Right? So this time I will complete my chapter 1. For by the next mid of next month, I'm going to complete chapter 2. Complete කියලා එකක් නෑ පුතා. Right? because as I mentioned before, it's always back and forth, right? If I can take my master's thesis to my hand now, තාමත් සමහරක් වෙලාවට ඒකේ වැරදි ඕනි තරම් හදන්න පේ. That's how. So it's always about going back and forth, right? ඒක නිසා time management කියන එක supervisor කෙනෙක්ව බලන් ඉන්න එපා. So you have to your own timeline, right? So that's how. නැත්තම් වෙන්නේ අන්තිමේදී you will be stressed, you will be panic, and you will do a sort of a late submission. අපරාදේ once you are submitting, you know your results. If you do a late submission, I mean. දෙනකොටම දන්නවනේ 100කම්ම තමයි. ඉතින් ඒක ගැන කතා කරන්න දෙයක් ඇත්තම නෑ ඊට පස්සේ. Right? You don't have any sort of an expectation. බලාපොරොත්තුවක් නෑ නේද? බලාපොරොත්තුවක් නෑ ලැබිලා ඉවරයි result එක. So maintain your time properly. Right? ඕනි තරම් දැකලා තියෙනවා අන්තිම මොහොතේ දුවගෙන එනවා late submission කරන්න අහනවා because that is because of you are the poor planners of time. This is so important, right? Okay. Then the important part comes, and I make you a promise. I made you a promise at the beginning, so I'm going to discuss how this important program, the Thesis Mastery Programme, organized by the Department of Accountancy and Finance, how this is in line with your research or the thesis writing process. ඕගොල්ලන්ව develop කරන්න, ඕගොල්ලන්ට facilitate කරන්න, that's why they come up with this sort of a concept, right? So කොහොමද ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ research writing process එකට මේ master thesis program එක process එකට ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ මේ TMP එක align වෙන්නේ, right? So 17 sessions yet to come, right? This is just the foundation, like foundation and sort of an introductory session. But good things comes, like it's yet to be, right? We have a session on 5th. Every other day we are planning to have sessions, right? You have the time schedule, I guess. So I'm going to show, right, how this particular program align with your thesis writing process. We'll go ahead. The first thing, right? Choosing a research topic, right? Okay, anybody is there who is asking a topic from your supervisor? Then uttareppa. I'm not expecting an answer. Supervisor ge topic එකක් ඉල්ලපු කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවද ගිහිල්ලා? Then this is for you. Yes, some students are even coming towards me asking for a better topic, right? So what my answer is, what you feel? I never provide topic for you to do, right? It should be something which is really interest for you, not for me. Understand my role, understand our role, right, as a supervisor. We are just supervising you. We are just facilitating you. Yes. Right? Giving a sort of a topic for you, it's not our duty. It's not within our boundaries. No. එහෙම කරන්න නැති වෙන්න එකම හේතුව, it's really harmful for you. You are the people, right, who are struggling, right, around 4 months with this particular topic, right? You are the people. Then this should be something interest to you. Deep dive කරන්න බැහැලා ඒකේ දඟලලා ඕනි දේවල් හොයාගන්න කරන්න අපිට interest එකක් තෝරගෙන හරියනවද ඕගොල්ලෝ? This is sort of a cumbersome process, right? මේක මේ ලේසි පහසු process එකක් නෙමෙයි. එහෙම එකේ තව අනුන්ට interest එකක් අරගෙන හරියනවද as your research topic? පොඩ්ඩක් හිතලා බලන්න. So keep in mind, your topic should interest you, right? At the same time, keep in mind, it should meet your academic standards. Bachelor level එක expectation එකක් තියෙනවා. Master levels වල expectation එකක් තියෙනවා, right? So whatever the topic you pick, ultimately it should meet the academic standards. attendance we maintain, right? So for marketing students, we always ask them to go for selecting topics from the marketing disciplines. Maybe from the consumer behavior, maybe from the sustainability marketing, it's okay. But don't touch like employee turnover, like emotional intelligence, basically, right? Or whatever the thing, right? So generally, they have to come up with topics in line with the marketing discipline, right? So the course requirements are there. Then, at the same time, it should be feasible for you to come up with. මාස 4යි තියෙන්නේ අවුරුද්දක විතර කරන්න ඕනේ රිසර්ච් එකක් සිලෙක්ට් කරගන්න එපා. With a big model, sort of a never known sort of analysis tool. ඔච්චර දේවල් කරන්න you don't have time. You are there at the industry. While being in the industry, you are going to carry out the research or the thesis. ඒ හින්දා කරන දේ හරියට කරන එකයි වැදගත්. It should be something feasible for you to come up with. Like after like end of 4 months, you have to produce this thesis report, right? Okay, so I'm not going to talk much about this, right? So it's about always start broad, then narrow down. We call this thing as funnel approach. හුනිලයක් වගේ. Start from broad. ලොකුවට පටන් ගන්න, scan කරන්න. Then you should definitely, you have to narrow down the area where you have chosen for the study, right? So this is about session number 2. That means which will be on 5th of May, right? So it is about how to formulate a strong research topic, problem statement, questions, hypotheses, and objectives. So this is your next session. This will be really worth for you, right? How to identify, how to choose a good research topic, plus how to formulate the problem statement accurately, then how to develop hypothesis plus the objectives, right? So this will be definitely an enlightening session for you all, insightful session for you all. This will be conducted by Dr. Rasika Priyankara. So with the request of while maintaining the continuous attendance for these sessions. So I'm requested to join this session on 5th, right? Okay, so literature review. So this is for chapter 2, right? මම කියවනේ thesis writing process එකත් එක්ක තමයි මේ program එකේ align වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. So literature review is for chapter 2. Chapter 2 වලදී literature review කරනවා කියන එක නෙවෙයි ඒකේ තේරුම. Literature review is everywhere. In order to come up with a good sort of a problem, to justify your empirical gap, right? To justify whatever the methodologies you picked for your study, to write a sort of a very good discussion, you need literature, right? But the specific chapter given for this is chapter 2, right? So this is about understanding the current knowledge in the field. What is the existing knowledge on a particular discipline, right? So then you are going to identify the gaps. මොනවද දැනට හොයාගෙන තියෙන knowledge එක, right? මොනවද හොයාගෙන නැත්තේ? What are the gaps we should be filled as researchers? So in order to find out these things, the literature review is really, it will be the foundation for you, right? So keep in mind, this is your foundation, right? So you have to identify gaps. You have to read about the existing knowledge. Then you have to identify what are the gaps, right? So you can utilize whatever the credible sources available with good publishers, right? So then at the same time, there are some tools are there for you to have a bundle of so you have to download a huge bundle as for to come up with a good literature review, right? Hitan article 40ක් විතර, right? So මේක කොහොමත් ඔයාව එක ෆෝල්ඩර් එකක දාගෙන තියාගන්න ඕනි, right? download කරනවා, ඒක download එකේ. ඊට පස්සේ දවස් 10ක් විතර ගියා තව එකක් download කරනවා, ඒකත් download එකේ. එහෙම බෑ. So you have to organize these whatever the sources you utilize for your research work in a kind of a like a good way, right? So there are tools available like Zotero, Mendeley, and EndNote, right? So like you can use these tools to organize your literature in a proper way, right? So then your session 3, the session 3 in this thesis mastery program, it is about literature review, strategies for identifying and synthesizing research. So this is about the session 3. So same as previous. This is something you should participate. Or participation for all the sessions is really beneficial for you, right? Okay. So then research design, right? I guess the people are worrying about this chapter a lot. Research design methodology, right? It's about this, right? So whether I'm going to do a qualitative study or a quantitative study or a mixed method study, so whether I'm going to utilize both, right? So then you are thinking about what sort of data collection tools I'm going to use, whether I'm going to depend on the primary sources or the secondary sources, right? So this is all about research design. But keep in mind, whatever the design you picked, right, for your research, it should be always in line with your research questions, right? Or research quantida, kalida, mixda, research questions like a fit window, right? So I'm not going to much talk about whatever the chapters, right? So the experts are there to talk about these things, right? So 4 sessions are arranged. Session 4, research design and methodology, choosing the right design for qualitative research. So if anybody come like thinking about or already selected to do sort of a qualitative study based on your research questions, right? So this is the good opportunity for you, right? So then research design and methodology, again for quantitative research, right? Then session 7 is about the best practices in data collection and validation for quantitative research. Then the session 15, right? It's about, again, navigating validity in qualitative and quantitative approaches, right? 4 sessions are like already 4 sessions are there in this program while targeting this particular chapter, right? Okay, then data analysis, right? So whatever the data you collected, we call them as raw data, right? Raw data, you have to transform it into insightful, whatever the meaningful insights. Ne? Survey response එකක් කියලා questionnaire එක fill කරගත්තා කියලා, right? It doesn't give you any insights. Questionnaire එකක් බලන් හිටියා කියලා ඒකෙන් what insights ගන්න බෑනේ, right? So you have to come up with analysis, right? The analysis, right, itself, it brings the story out. ඔයාගේ data පිටිපස්සේ තියෙන story එක analysis එකෙන් තමයි එළියට ගන්නේ, right? So, right, whatever the descriptive or the inferential statistics, right, then the thematic coding, if you are following the qualitative design, then most probably your analysis tool may be NVivo, right? So you have to do thematic analysis, right? So anyhow, for Excel, SPSS, NVivo, whatever the advanced tools, like whatever AMOS, Smart PLS are, there are like ample of data analysis tools available, right? But I guess majority of you all are familiar with SPSS, I guess, and the people who are doing qualitative, you are familiar with NVivo, I guess, right? Okay, so then there are again 4 sessions. They are to be conducted based on this particular chapter. It's there as data analysis and discussion for you, right? So this is about data analysis, right? Okay. So again, right? මෙහෙම chapter එකක් එහෙම දැන් හොයන්න එපා. Okay, අපි for the purpose of this particular program, right, we are having discussion and targeting this particular 2 areas, right? Discussion and the whole chapter, the chapter 5 conclusion. The session 14, right? This is about interpreting and presenting research finding effectively. So data presentation analysis followed by discussion, conclusion, implication and future directions. That was the essence of this theory. මේකේ ආයේ මොනවාද presentation analysis නෙවෙයි, data ඕනිනේ ඔයගලන්ට ඉතුරු ටික කියලා දෙන්න, the discussion, conclusion and whatever the thing, what are the implications we can take out of from this and all. ඒක නිසා data presentation and analysis followed by these areas, right? Okay, then academic writing skills, right? What do you feel? This is something really worth for you, because you are coming up with a sort of an academic piece of work, right? So your ideas may be brilliant. You are brilliant, but if your writing is not clear, right, your message, it will be lost. What only they communicate කරගන්න බැයි නම් ඔයාගේ write up එක ඇතුලේ. So ultimately, right, it's again, right, which we called as aparadi, ne? What hariyata, what your ideas may be brilliant, that's why I said, right, but if your writing is not clear, right, then the message what you need to communicate will be lost, right? So academic writing is really important for you, right? So then next session, the session next means the session 12, it's about academic writing, structuring a high quality thesis, right? So the clarity, you have to ensure the clarity, structure, coherence, argumentation, right? Plus use of transitions. Transitions. Academic writing, ගොඩක් degree programs වල තියෙනවා, right? සමහරක් වෙලාවට transitions කියන එක you may know, right? Because of the transitions, we are able to ensure the logical flow even within two paragraphs, even from one sentence to next. මොනවද මේ transitions කියලා කියන්නේ? ඔයගොල්ලෝ utilize කරන words such as furthermore, moreover, first, then next, then. We call them as transitions. ඒව හැබැයි appropriately use කරන්න ඕනේ. In contrast, සමහරක in contrast, මොකටද contrast ද බලනවා අපි උඩ ගිහලා ඒක contrast we don't know. Similarly, මොකටද similarly දන්නේ නැහැ. උඩ ගිහලා බලනවා it's something else. ඒක නිසා don't use like whatever the word or the language in an appropriate way, right? මමගේ අපි ගිහින් බලමු what this is about. Similarly නම් ඒ වගේ තව එකක් කලින් කියවිලා තියෙන්න එපා. ඒ වගේම find in එකක් හරි මොකක් හරි similarly. In contrast, එහෙනම් උඩ එකට වෙනස් එකක් කියන්න යන්නේ. මේ words වල power එකක් තියෙනවා transitions වල, right? So you have to ensure, right, transitions are normally ensures the logical flow between the paragraph or between two sentences even, right? At the same time, you have to maintain the academic tone within the entire thesis. I and my friend collected data. Oh God. I and my friend. Don't use the first person these days. Always use the researcher. The researcher. Right? That's called you are ensuring the academic tone. Right? What active voice ma kiyanda now e katawa? Right? Tell it the researcher. That's good. I and my brother and my parents do. Right? Okay. You will be, the particular resource person will be, right, tell whatever the things are. Because I'm not like into this academic writing and all. The particular resource person will discuss more and more, right? So, and the thesis structure, right? Okay. Then, referencing and citations. Again, sort of a worthy session, right? So session number 13 is about referencing, citation management and avoiding plagiarism, right? So avoiding plagiarism is must, because this is sort of a serious issue, right? Then there are popular citation styles, right? You are very familiar with APA, right? APA කියන එකත් එක්ක ඔයගොල්ලෝ හරි familiar. APA style, American Psychological Association. They are the people who introduce, right? So style. Then MLA. MLA means Modern Language Association, which is heavily used for research in humanities, and the Harvard referencing styles, right? This is again based on your institution. They instructed what is the referencing method you should follow, right? So for PIM, once I'm doing the masters, it's always APA, the latest version always, right? But for the UK people, I produce my thesis from the Harvard style, right? So again, one request, right? Don't wait